is a former Trump State Department counterterrorism coordinator, Nathan Sales. So, Nathan, why are these protests in Iran now different than the Arab Spring protests?
I think the most important difference is that President Trump has clearly put the full weight and authority of the United States behind the protesters. This is not a situation where the White House is trying to pull its punches in order to maybe curry favor with the Islamic Republic, something we've seen during the Obama administration in previous years. This is a case where the president is speaking with moral clarity and strategic clarity that the regime is illegitimate, that the first victims of the regime are not just the Americans and the Gulf Arabs who suffer from Iranian aggression, but the Iranian people themselves. For almost 50 years, they have suffered under this theocracy, and they are starting to shake off their chains. The Americans are not going to put boots on the ground to bring about regime change, but it is significant that President Trump is threatening to hold the regime accountable if they use violence to preserve their grip on power.
It's very interesting. Now, listen to General Jack Keane on President Trump's stance on Iran. Listen to this.
Unlike Obama, President Trump has stood up for the Iranian people here and saying, leave them alone. Let them protest. They have legitimate concerns. Don't do harm or else. And in the back of the Iranians' minds, they know full well that they could come for them this time.
And that's kind of just what you were talking about here. So does that make a big difference, do you think, about the length and maybe these protests being joined by other people?
I think the protesters want to know that they have America in their corner. They're not looking to the United States to topple over this regime for them. That's ultimately the responsibility of the Iranian people themselves. But I think the support that the United States can provide here is very significant. Nobody's talking about another ground war in the Middle East, but short of that, there are a number of steps that Washington can take to hold the bad actors in Tehran accountable for abuses that they're committing against protesters. We can get information in and we can get information out so that the Iranian people can tell their stories. We have a number of cyber options available to disable elements of regime command and control, regime propaganda. Right. So we're not looking at boots on the ground, but there's lots of steps short of that where we can help.
Yeah, Nathan, I want to get this in. Turning to Venezuela, Maduro, he's already in talks with the U.S. on drug trafficking and oil. He says he's ready to do those talks. Does this mean that Trump's pressure campaign is working? And you only have about 30 seconds.
He certainly seems to have gotten Maduro's attention, but I'm not sure that making a couple of cosmetic changes in Caracas is going to answer the mail. It looks like the president is trying to force Maduro from power. He's cratered Venezuela's economy. He's made bedfellows with America's worst enemies like Iran, like Russia. I'm not sure that simply standing down on drug trafficking is going to be enough to satisfy the White House.
So yes or no, is he going to be out, Maduro going to be out this year, you think?
Maybe. How's that?
I appreciate it. Can't get to a yes without a maybe, right? Exactly. So I appreciate it. Thank you, Nathan Sales. So now listen to this.